And welcome to the roadmap, Benzinga's NFT show. We had some great teams behind some great NFT projects on past episodes in 2021. Pixel Vault, Art Blocks, Robotos, The Doge Pound, Oniforce, Crypto Dads, Lazy Lions, Supduck, Wall Street Bulls, Sappy Seals, and more. We also did an NFT giveaway. We got more giveaways coming soon. We also have NFT merch coming your way soon. Today, we're going to take a look at a 2021 recap and also preview what may be ahead in 2022. So stay tuned, everyone. This is the roadmap. All right, everyone. Yeah, this is the roadmap. Benzinga's new NFT show. Started the show in 2021, and we brought many NFT projects and communities onto the stream. We did interviews, we highlighted projects, we talked about their roadmaps. And now today we're going to recap that a little bit and also 2022, take a look ahead. So first, you heard me mention them in the intro. Sappy Seals was one of our guests in 2021. I want to shout them out for a minute. If you didn't notice, I do have on my Sappy Seals Christmas sweater today, courtesy of that team. So thank you to the Seals team for hooking me up with this great Christmas sweater. Again, I mean, merch is one of those things that NFT projects often have, and it's a great way to engage with the community. And I'm happy to be sporting this on today's episode. So running solo on today's show. So if you are following along, please say hi in the chat, share your thoughts and opinions with me, and I will try to read as many comments and questions today as I can. And as you see, those comments in the chat show right up on the screen. Again, if you are watching this live on YouTube, if you're following along somewhere else or watching this after the live air, still thank you for your support. But YouTube Live, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern Time is definitely the place to hang to, share your thoughts and also get that interaction. So one of the things that I always like to talk about here on the roadmap is the top 10 projects of the previous week. And this is based on sales volume. So not a huge surprise. Last week was led by Mutant Ape Yacht Club, $92.2 million in sales, up 166%. Mutant Ape just had the 3.5 million serum sale. Also attracted then some other buyers. So that one definitely saw an increase. We saw people really getting into Mutant Ape Yacht Club. You can see Chemistry Club further down the top 10 list there. That is the serums that, make the Bored Ape into the Mutant Ape. So that appearing on the list for the first time in quite a while, with sales up 425%. Bored Ape also up 137%. So this is the first time in a while where two projects have been above Axie Infinity. Normally Axie leads the way, but the apes have been passing it in recent weeks. CryptoPunks also appearing in the top 5. Not a huge surprise there. Prime Ape Planet, $28.8 million appeared on the list last week. I did take a look at some of these images. This was a project that had a strong mint. On reveal, also had some big sales. But this is one that probably will start to move down the list now after the mint and the reveal are done. There you can see these are some of the top selling Prime Ape planets. By ETH over the last week. So these have some of the rarer traits. I like that crown here on this one. But again, this is a project that was well received by the market, and we'll see what happens now after mint and after reveal here. Doodles also having a huge week. Sales up 525%, was the big gainer in the top 10. Also then the Sandbox Clone X and In-Betweeners also seeing a huge gain on the week. Notable to say that M&M also aped into Bored Ape Yacht Club. Anytime a celebrity gets in, we definitely see volume increases, talk increases about a project. So there is M&M's ape on the screen. I definitely think it was a wise pick there by him. Some have even said that, maybe it mirrors a resemblance there. But, definitely continued support from celebrities. Want to shout out in the chat. We got TJ and JT Black, Justin M, and then also Mike. Thanks for joining. The stream today is Prime Ape, a Galliverse project. So Prime Ape Planet, the artist is Curtis Daw, and also has got animators from past Disney, MGM, and Marvel projects. So this was a 0.25 mint, 2.78 before the reveal. This is a big one. It's one that I didn't get into. I wasn't lucky enough to get onto the whitelist or get into this one early. And as I said, demand was real strong for this one before the reveal. Also, there's some legendary apes that have not been revealed. You can see kind of that static image there that are seeing the huge sales. So we'll definitely keep an eye out on that one. We got Bill saying crazy koalas. We'll have to take a look at that one later on. So moving on past the top 10, another item talk about often on the stream, right, is OpenSea. So, if you're familiar with the NFT space, I'm sure you know what OpenSea is, a leading NFT marketplace. And they really kind of, have a dominant position. And with that comes an increasing valuation. So they recently announced that they reached $300 million, valuing the company at $13.3 billion. So Paradigm and Cotu led the round. They also announced their new VP of product. And the VP of product comes from Facebook, priorly served as the VP of commerce. He also spent time at YouTube, Spotify, and WeWork. So some great experience with big tech companies. They said that they're going to use that money to support the community and also, boost their strengths that they already have. But this is a huge increase. The company was valued at $1.5 billion last July, rumored to be valued at $10 billion in November. It's got some big investors. We got Anderson Horowitz, we got Coinbase, Kevin Durant, Ashton Kutcher. We also got some new numbers from OpenSea. So if you're following along, you know that January has already seen some huge daily sales volume days. So January 2nd hit a record high of $240 million in sales volume on OpenSea. The last 7 days, $914 million. They have 150,000 users. And this comes as a topic I'm going to talk about later on today. Coinbase getting ready to launch their own NFT marketplace. They're expected to be a strong competitor to OpenSea. Coinbase has 2.5 million people signed up for their waitlist. So as you heard me say, OpenSea has 150,000 users. So, there's definitely an opportunity there to continue to add users to OpenSea and also for Coinbase to bring even more people into the NFT space. So those are the big two news items of the week. There has been a ton of news out there, a lot of projects flying, but those are the big two that I really wanted to highlight. And then I want to get into maybe a fun topic, right? So a couple articles I wrote recently on Benzinga. I interviewed 5 people in the NFT space, and I asked them some questions to recap 2021 and also to preview 2022. So what I'm going to do is kind of walk through those questions, share some of their answers, and then also give some of my own insight and answers to the questions, since I have not actually shared my answers anywhere publicly. So the people that I interviewed were Luke Doucette, who is the founder of The First Mint, an NFT podcast, well-known name in NBA Top Shot. Avery Akineni, who's the president of Vayner NFTs. Josh Ong, who's an NFT collector and consultant. He was on the roadmap not too long ago. Hunter Orel, who is a NFT investor. He also was on the roadmap last year. And then Matt Higgins, who is the co-founder and CEO of RSE Ventures. He also is an investor in an NFT fund with Gary Vee and AJ Vaynerchuk. And he also is an investor in Dapper Labs, the parent company of NBA Top Shot. So those were the people I interviewed. Again, gonna kind of walk through what they had to say. So the first question we really got into was big brands entering the NFT space, right? So 2021 is going to go down as, the year of NFTs. But one of the growing trends has been big companies launching NFTs, right? We saw Anheuser-Busch launch their Budweiser NFTs. We saw Pepsi launch NFTs. We're seeing toy companies, right? Hasbro, Mattel, Disney get into NFTs. So the question I had was, how important were big brands like Adidas, Nike, Pepsi getting into NFTs for the sector? Are they bringing new investors and collectors with them? So, Nike bought Artifact, Adidas partnered with Bored Ape Yacht Club, Punk's Comic, and G Money. Those, I think, are the big two that are going to go down with really the long-term value. The Pepsi NFTs, the Budweiser NFTs might have more of the collectability, right, as kind of the first launch from those projects, but the utility might not be there. So I think that's going to be the big thing for these brands launching NFTs in 2022 is, where's the utility at? Are they going to launch, collections where people who own the NFTs will have first dibs on merch like we're seeing with Adidas? Will there be an incentive to hold these NFTs from these big companies? Otherwise, these big companies, may face, just kind of being a one and done, but also they don't want to alienate their existing customer base who maybe doesn't want to buy the NFTs. So it's going to be a big balance in 2022. And shout out to Tokenizer in the chat. 2022 will be the year of the NFT, not 2021. 2021 was just the preview. Hey, I'm all on board for that comment. I think that could be right. The Coinbase launch alone of NFTs in 2022, I think is just going to be massive to the space. So definitely could be an even bigger year here in 2022. But 2021 definitely hit some record numbers for the space. And you've got people that don't know anything about crypto talking about NFTs. So I definitely think it was a strong start there. So what do you guys think in the chat? What can big brands like Pepsi, Budweiser, Adidas, Nike, what can they do to engage with those NFT holders? What utility can they provide by launching NFT collections and, really getting into the space without looking like they're just doing a cash grab, right? And some of these NFTs were free mints. So they really weren't a cash grab, but the value is definitely there and the collectability. So, how can they stay relevant? What can they do to, make people more incentivized in 2022? Let me know in the comments what you think. I'll try to get to some of those. Want to move on to the next topic. This was a big one that Maz and I talked about here on the stream throughout 2021 was this thought of, will Bored Ape Yacht Club someday pass CryptoPunks in terms of floor price valuation? So I asked the panel if that was something that they saw coming in 2021. And most of them were surprised that it happened that fast, right? Some of them thought that, maybe it's something that could have happened in 2022, but to see it happen at the end of 2021 was really a big surprise. I actually, said publicly on the stream a couple times that I really thought that apes were going to pass punks, and I thought it was just a matter of time. And the big reason again was, utility and that collective, the holders getting value along the way, right? You got the Bored Ape Kennel Club, you got the Mutant Ape Yacht Club, you also got access to the parties in New York. Now you're going to get a token, a mobile game in 2022, and CryptoPunks, they really haven't done a lot since the Meebits Mint to reward their users. It's really just been a store of value, right? And that's something that could change in 2022. Larva Labs, which owns CryptoPunks, did sign a talent agency deal with UTA. So I'm actually excited to see what that could entail. But right now, I just think, So I looked at the floor prices today, and punks are at 61.95 ETH. Apes are at 68.9 ETH. So Apes well ahead, and I just don't think they're going to look back at this point. I think Bored Ape here to stay. And I think definitely going to be the higher valued one going forward. So I want to check back with the chat here. So Samsung mentioned by Daryl in the chat. I have not seen Samsung getting in yet. We have seen some big companies, that are getting into the metaverse, maybe not necessarily NFTs directly, but your Facebook, your Microsoft, and others are looking at the metaverse as a way for growth. Oh, the Samsung NFT TV, yes, they unveiled at CES this week. I actually wrote about that. So they're not launching their own NFTs, but yes, they do have now on a smart TV that they premiered at the Consumers Electronics Show 2022, where you will be able to display your NFTs on the TV. They also said that in the future, you'll be able to, buy NFTs. I don't know how exactly that's going to work directly from the TV. And also they'll share information. So again, every NFT on the blockchain, you can see the buyer and seller history. And that's something that you can pull up then on your TV, right? You can look up a project, you can look at different traits, you can highlight an NFT, and you'll be able to see the sales transaction history, right? So Samsung getting into NFTs, and I think other TV companies are going to have to follow this because, if this is well received by the community, I also think this is another good way to display your NFTs, right? So I have smart TVs, and one of the things is, if you don't have a show casted to the TV, sometimes it'll just display some default images, right? Either from your own image library or from a default one. And instead of doing that, if you just have your NFTs kind of cycle through, I think it could be a good way, to really highlight and show off your NFTs. So shout out to the chat again. Yeah, the Samsung TV definitely slipped my mind, even though I wrote about it. But yeah, I think they're going to be early here. I am curious to hear more about how you'll be able to buy the NFTs off the TV. Looking like Tokenizer saying, yeah, that you'll have to use your phone along with it. So not fully there yet, but definitely something to watch, going forward. So shout out again, Tokenizer in the chat. So Bored Apes and CryptoPunks. What do you guys think? Apes, are they ever going to fall below punks, or has that completely sailed now? As I said, I think apes are ahead of punks for here to stay, and I don't see that changing. I think the one variable is the fact that Larva Labs did sign that talent agency deal, and I think maybe we'll get some sort of announcement if they can maybe integrate punks into some type of media deal, right? A TV show, a movie, or some sort of licensing. And what could that mean for punks holders? There has been a big debate about whether punks owners actually own the IP of their punk that they own, whereas Bored Apes own their IP for each ape that they own. So that could actually be a debate in 2022 that could actually hurt punks even more if come to find out that the holders, will not be able to get monetized as much as, apes can in other areas. So that's what I think about the apes and punks debate. But yeah, so Tokenizer saying Bored Apes will stay ahead, active and creative, and the art is more compelling. That's another thing, right? The art. So Bored Apes, obviously a little bit more advanced. CryptoPunks, it's the older style. The other thing is look at the trends, right? If you look at Twitter, if you look in Discords, other places, you see a lot more apes as PFPs now and less punks. So, I definitely see that trend continuing. I prefer apes, obviously, for some of the reasons I said. I don't own either project. But, if I had to, pick, which I said months ago, if I had to pick, I would buy a Bored Ape over a punk. And that has turned out to be so far, the winning bet. But yeah, so share those thoughts in the chat. Keep them coming, guys. As I get through the show. Another question I asked was, what were some of the biggest trends in NFTs in 2021? And with that being said, the items I mentioned were PFPs, right? Profile pictures, play to earn, and utility. So I think all of those were trends, right, in 2021. But what were the biggest trends? What was it? PFP. So a lot of the panel said, that PFP was a trend, but the bigger trends that could carry over are utility, right? So that's where these NFT collections, I think, really provide value to their holders and also have that lasting power, right? If you're just a PFP, how long until one of your holders changes their picture to a different project? Is that providing value to your overall um, space or not? So I think utility was probably the biggest trend. Also, play to earn really took off with Axie Infinity. And we're seeing other NFTs now really get into play to earn. Some of them had this on their roadmap. Others have actually launched with play to earn and been highly successful. And I think that's the trend that'll probably carry over big into 2022 as well. So that's what the panel had to say, and that's what I would say is probably utility and play to earn were the biggest trends in 2021, outside of PFPs. And like I said, I think those two are going to be more valuable in the future in the space. Another question was talking about Ethereum being the biggest NFT platform for many in 2021. So this is where like my expertise comes in, right? I know Ethereum well. That's where the most of my NFTs are. I've also done some Top Shot, right, which is on the Flow blockchain, and a couple others. But I'm very focused on Ethereum. I know Solana is huge and it's growing, and that's one I really want to look into more in 2022. So maybe that's where I'll ask the chat here if there's Solana projects that I should be looking at if I want to get into that space, either with some new projects that, might have some value, or some of the OGs that maybe if Solana continues to take off are really going to have that, punks or apes value, right, as being the blue chips. So I also see Immutable is another one to watch, and that was mentioned by the panel as well. We're seeing some of these projects start to mint off of that blockchain as well. So that's definitely a trend that I'm going to watch. I think with the continued high gas fees, I think Ethereum is going to see competition grow. And that's something that maybe when Coinbase gets involved, Coinbase already having all these crypto assets on their platform, I think maybe we see some of these other projects really start to take off with different, cryptocurrencies because of Coinbase making it so easy to just use your existing, coins that you have in your wallet. So Ethereum, I think, is definitely going to lead the way for the near and long term. But I think 2022, we're really going to see some new competition due to the higher gas. And I'm seeing Mike here mention Days Ducks. I'll have to take a look at that one later on. And then also, Cardano and Avalanche also mentioned. Those are also two others to keep an eye out in the space. There is also Loop Ring, which is doing an NFT marketplace with GameStop and some others. I'm interested in that one as well. So 2022, I think, definitely has room for more competition to Ethereum. So that's something I'll try to cover more. Hey, I'm back. Sorry, everyone. It looks like cut out for a second here. Technical difficulties, but I am here. So, so sorry about that too. Also, audio on another window. All right, so I'm back. Yeah, Mike, you lost me. Here I am, everyone. So the other question I asked about 2021, and this is something that if you're in NFTs, you know well, is that two of the biggest companies that are involved with NFTs and connecting communities are Discord and Twitter Spaces, right? Those are really the go-to places for NFT projects to, share ideas, share their project, for whitelist to happen, for, announcements, for interviews to really happen within these NFT projects. So my question was kind of to talk about those two, and then also, will we see some others? So this one, I think it's still in the early stages and to be determined, right? Uh, Akineni from Vayner NFT called Discord the lifeblood of the NFT community, and I gotta say that's accurate, right? Anyone who has spent time in Discord, you know how important it is. I liked Hunter Orell's comment though, talking about social media platforms, LinkedIn and Instagram, potentially gaining from NFT brands using the sites for marketing. Right. So right now, I mean, I'm starting to see on like Facebook and Twitter some sponsored ads for different NFT projects before they mint. But Instagram could be a really good one, right? Because you get to show off the artwork more, and people are there looking for pictures. So I think, that could be spot on. Look for Instagram to maybe make a dent in that space. But, I just see Discord being so important. That's another company similar to OpenSea where they could do a new funding round with an increased valuation due to the importance that they have. So definitely one to, that's going to continue to lead the way in Twitter Spaces. I've been in many Twitter Spaces myself. I mean, how exciting was it the other night that mutant serum that was bought for $5 million? The unveil of what that looked like was done live on Twitter Spaces and Twitch. And I mean, Twitter Spaces, you can't even see the image, and there was still so many people there, just listening in and then seeing the image shared, on Twitter after. And that included the founders of Bored Ape, talking about the project, talking about Mutant Apes. So, I mean, again, a great way to pull the community together. And also, Discord, some of these Discords, are only open certain channels to people that, own the project, whereas Twitter Spaces is very public. So sometimes you can pull in people maybe new to the NFT space or new to that community, and they can listen along on Twitter, and maybe they decide then to, ape into the project. So I definitely think that's a continued way for these projects to see a strong community. I want to check back in with the chat here, seeing some comments. Yeah, the internet tried to rug me. Not sure what happened there. Mark with the comment picked up Pudgy Penguin, Crypto Dad, Robotos, and Playboy Rabbit are on the dip. So Pudgy Penguin did have news, of course, that Cole has been ousted, it looks like, and trying to determine if they're going to go along with some of the old founders or turn it over to the community. There's also been some posts on Twitter of several people, that are in talks or want to buy the project and kind of bring it forward into the future. So Pudgy Penguin seeing some increased volume today on that. Crypto Dads is a project I know and love. I own. I'm excited to hear more about their 2022 aspirations. We've had them on the show. I really like that they're not about the floor price, right? They're about providing the future, right? They don't care what the price is necessarily right now. They're worried about, bringing to life that roadmap that they laid out. They already delivered moms. They got Crypto Tots coming. They also have the lawnmower racing game. I mean, talk about play to earn. I'm excited to see that. And then Robotos is one I'm going to talk about in a little bit. Tokenizer, nice sweater, Chris. Sappy Seals merch. Yeah, you got it. So Sappy Seals, they sent me this sweater. We talked about it live on stream, right? When we had them on, that they were going to get us some merch. So I don't own a Sappy Seal. It's a project that's been on my list. I need to buy one because now I have the sweater. But this is a sweet Christmas sweater. Very excited to be rocking this. I'll probably, even though Christmas is over, keep wearing it on the stream because it's great NFT merch. And we'll have to create a Benzinga NFT sweater maybe for next Christmas. We did have some Benzinga Christmas sweaters, which are still available in our merch store. So if you want a Christmas sweater, definitely check those out. Seeing Small Brains mentioned in the chat, that's another project that has really picked up steam. I've heard it mentioned a lot recently. So definitely one that I will have to take a look at more. Tokenizer asking, how do we send you merch? You can hit me up on Twitter. We can talk later and work it out. I'm always interested in hearing more about merch. We got Nice Sweater King by Storm in the chat. Yeah, thank you again. Shout out to Sappy Seals. All right, so let's get into the questions that I asked about 2022. So those were all the 2021 questions. And as you heard me say, some of those involved, kind of forward-looking thoughts of what's ahead, but really it was to recap 2021. So now getting into 2022, was kind of where some of the opinion pieces came in and what's ahead. So again, the panel that was Luke Doucette from the First Mint, Avery Akineni from Vayner NFT, Josh Ong, an NFT collector and consultant, Hunter Orrell, an NFT investor, and Matt Higgins, the co-founder and CEO of RSE Ventures. So the metaverse, right? You just heard me talk about the metaverse and how important that is for some of these projects. So I asked, that a lot of these teams are putting metaverse on their roadmap, but few have actually delivered a metaverse project. Does the metaverse remain a goal of NFT projects in 2022? This one got some mixed results because a lot of them said that the metaverse is early, right? And echoed that statement that not a lot of teams have actually delivered on the metaverse yet, but they thought that it will continue to be a theme in 2022. I really think we're going to see metaverse be an even bigger theme, right? A lot of these projects had it on their roadmap as maybe a long-term goal over the next couple of years. I think it's going to get pushed to the forefront. I think if you're an NFT that's minting now, you're going to go hard after metaverse, play to earn, or utility right away. And those are going to be the things that you're going to try to, land with the community. So I see metaverse being a big trend. We got Brent in the chat. Sup, Chris? Hey, Brent, how's it going? Thanks for joining. And yeah, everyone commenting on the sweater. I mean, again, Sappy Seals, shout out to you. I know we got some seals in the chat now. Again, thank you for the sweater. I am more than happy to rock it today and multiple days throughout 2022. So what do you guys think? Metaverse, is that going to be the continued thing for these NFT projects? Are projects going to have it on their roadmap? Will some of these NFTs try to shy away from it because we're still early? What do you guys think? Metaverse, big topic, 2022. Is it, here to stay? Is it going to grow more? Share those thoughts. We'll pop some of them onto the screen here. Another question I asked, this one we talk about probably every week. In fact, you already heard me talk about it at the top of the hour with Eminem getting into Bored Ape, right? I asked the panel, I said, we saw many celebrities and athletes get involved in NFTs in 2021. Any guesses on who could be next to take the plunge? This was a fun question, right? Because there's not really a wrong answer here. What celebrity do you see getting in? This had a Drake was one of the names, right? Which again, we're seeing rappers, and musicians among the biggest ones getting into the community. We also, another mention was by Luke Doucette. He gave his dark horse bet as President Joe Biden. I don't know if I see that happening. I think it was a cool guess, though. I mean, what if Joe Biden did actually get an NFT? That would definitely be something that a lot of people would talk about. I liked Avery Akineni's guesses here, though, too. Again, looking at musicians. So she called out some female musicians, Beyonce and Taylor Swift, to join the NFT community. That was a trend we saw in 2021. We saw some of these female celebrities get in, right? Reese Witherspoon and others. And they wanted to find NFTs that were, heavily female trait, right? Or had women teams. So if we see some of these female celebrities get in, we got Mike in the chat saying Britney Spears. Yeah, there was a rumor that Britney Spears was buying NFTs. I did see Serena Williams say GM on Twitter yesterday. If you don't know, Serena Williams is married to Alexis Ohanian, the founder of Reddit. He actually bought her a CryptoPunk and he wore a pin of that CryptoPunk to the Met Gala last year. I could see Serena getting more NFTs with her husband, obviously having, knowledge of that space. And, maybe we see a new pin for Alexis to wear at next year's Met. So, that was the guess there, though, Beyonce and Taylor Swift. Hunter Orrell, he said LeBron James was his pick, right, for a new name. We already have Shaq. We've got, Steph Curry. We've got a lot of NBA players, right? Out of all the sports, I think NBA is probably the one best represented across the NFT community. So LeBron James joining the space would not really be a huge surprise, but obviously a big name. But no one guessed Eminem, right? So that would have been the correct guess, I think, so far. Would have been if you guessed that Eminem was going to join the NFT space in 2022. Because as I said, he did buy that Bored Ape. Mike asking, does Kanye have any? I don't think Kanye West has any. With that being said, too, another name that pops up with Kanye all the time, right, is the Kardashians, the Jenners. That could be more people that could join that space. Kylie Jenner was interested in NFTs last year as well. So that's another thing. We got Tokenizer mentioning soccer in Europe. I'm going to talk about that in a couple minutes here. But what do you guys think? If you could throw out a guess, so I'm already seeing Kanye, who is your pick? A celebrity that's not currently in the NFT space that's going to buy, big NFTs and or maybe launch their own NFT collection in 2022. Who is everyone out there guessing? Who do you think could be new to the space? Those were the guesses the panel said. It's a great question. I don't know if I actually had a good guess. I liked a lot of those. I still think musicians and athletes are definitely going to be the one. Oh, there's a good one. We got P.O. Grady saying The Rock. That's another good one. Kevin Hart along that lines too. I don't think currently has. We got Nas. Yeah, that's a good one. Nas, an investor in a lot of these crypto platforms. Mike saying Ozzy Osbourne launching crypto bats. Yep, we're definitely going to have to talk about that on an upcoming show. Another vote for Drake. We got Jay-Z. We got Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson actually does own some NFTs. He got in 2021. I can't remember which communities and collections off the top of my head, but I know that there was one. Jay-Z owns a CryptoPunk. I'm not sure if he owns anything outside of that, but yeah. And then Alyssa saying big YouTubers. That was another trend, right? We saw some of like the esports teams, right? FaZe Banks and others really getting heavily involved in NFTs. And I mean, these are celebrities that have, hundreds of thousands of followers on Twitter, but also massive audiences on, YouTube and Twitch. And anytime they mention, hey, I own an ape, or they show off their ape, I mean, that's huge brand awareness for these communities. And it's also been a topic of discussion when we've had these teams on, right? Do they try to grow organically and hope that maybe their artwork or their community attracts celebrities and, athletes and investors? Or do they try to market to them right away and maybe give them some free or, pay them to do a sponsorship, right? That's another highly debated topic in the space. Tokenizer saying Jeff Bezos or Bill Gates. Those are two other good ones. Mark Zuckerberg would be another one, right? I know that there are a couple executives at Facebook that have talked about cryptocurrencies and owning them, but I haven't seen the NFT side of thing as much. These are some great guesses out there, guys. We're going to have to take a look at this episode later on in the year to see who was right or who was close to guessing here. Again, we're only January 6th. We already have Eminem being the big name entering the space. And I think we're going to see more and more enter each month going forward. Elon Musk. Yeah, I mean, the thing with Musk is I feel like I'm a little surprised he hasn't gotten in already. I mean, you saw a lot of these projects create traits with him, right? Doge Pound was a big one, right? And they tweet to him. They say, hey, we have this NFT for you. And he really hasn't, engaged with NFTs at all. he actually has spoke negatively of NFTs a couple times. So I kind of feel like maybe he's just going to avoid the space, which is a little surprising with as heavily in, NFT or in crypto and meme coins as he is. But definitely, yeah, he can burn a project down sometimes. Yeah, exactly. Macaulay Culkin, that there's a name, that we could see. That's another great guess. Paparu saying, "Is it too late to get into NFTs?" That's a, what a question, right? I again, not financial advice. I think we're early, but it's definitely high risk, high reward sector, right? It's not money that you can't afford to lose. That should really be put into NFTs. We've seen several collapses, several bear markets where some of these projects can go to zero. Also, they become almost, illiquid, where you can't sell your projects because there's no buyers. Very different from stocks out there. So again, it's another thing you have to kind of know your risk appetite. And with that being said, a lot of these projects will have massive, drops in their valuation, but we're also going to see a ton of success stories in 2022, just like we did in 2021, in my opinion. And also, if you have the time and the research to do in the space, you can be well rewarded, right? We're already seeing that with play to earn and with utility, where if you own some of these NFTs, you're getting passive income along the way via a token or via staking or via a second mint or drop from the team. I mean, that's one thing Bored Ape has really done well. They rewarded their holders with, Bored Ape Kennel Club and with Mutant Ape Yacht Club. So hey, shout out to Tokenizer. If you're going to buy an NFT, check out the roadmap first. Thank you, Tokenizer, for those positive comments there and for being so active in the chat today. And thank you, everyone, for all of these great questions. We got Nick also shouting out the Sappy Seals sweater. I know there's a ton of seals in here. Again, arf, arf. Happy to have you here. We're going to have to bring the team back on for another interview. But guys, get those last guesses in for your celebrity pick for NFTs in 2022. And then we're going to get an exciting topic here. But just wondering if we have any more guesses here. The other thing that I asked the panel, this was a big one, right? And I really was curious on these answers, was to talk about blue chips, right? I'm a stock market guy. I write about stocks. I've covered the stock market for years. And blue chips is a term that gets thrown out there. And it's really those companies that have kind of, stood the test of time. They're highly valued, well respected, and not expected to really lose that big value. So with that being said, turning to the NFT space, blue chips is still relatively early, right? Because a lot of these NFT projects have been around less than a year. So that's why CryptoPunks has really stood out as the big blue chip, right? Because they're one of the first Ethereum-based NFTs. They have a high valuation. It's kind of like that store of value. And then also Bored Apes, even though they minted in April, really considered the other big blue chip now. So I asked the panel, what are the other blue chips, in your opinion, that will stand the test of time? And this got a ton of different responses, which is always cool to see, because now we have a lot to talk about here. So Cool Cats was one that got mentioned. And Cool Cats, if you didn't know, I really think it's so close to that blue chip line. This is another one minted in 2021. We have a floor price of around 10 today. It actually passed 10 on several times in 2021, though. They have more coming, right? They got Cool Pets coming, which is going to be, another project rewarding cats holders, also bringing new people into the community. They also have the Milk token coming. They had a partnership with Timepieces. Smash that like. I have not said that yet. We're 46 minutes in here. Smash that like, everyone. Subscribe to Benzinga's YouTube channel. Great way where you're going to get coverage of NFTs, cryptocurrency, and stocks. We've got coverage throughout the day, various sectors. Make sure you subscribe. And again, the roadmap, 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. Eastern time, Tuesday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays. So Cool Cats, I would have to say, is on my list of the current or potential blue chips by the end of 2022, right? I think 2022 really takes this project to the next level, with the pets launch, with the token launch. It's one that I don't own. Shout out to Maz. I know that he has been in this project for a long time. I really think, though, that this one is, a blue chip or a blue chip in the NFT space. Then we've got Meta Hero. So Meta Hero is from Pixel Vault, right? And we of course had G Funk on the show last year, and he broke down, the Pixel Vault game theory, what's ahead. We got Meta Hero, we got planets, and Pixel Vault from the start has been all about building out this game, right? And I think that's why this one is, maybe not considered a blue chip yet, but it's so close, right? And as soon as that game gets delivered, this is going to be one of those like OGs that people talk about and that they wish they would have gotten in, right? We saw comics, we saw the planets, we saw meta heroes. There's several ways for people to get involved with Pixel Vault and get into that ecosystem. And that's what I love about it. We also have different price points now. The planets kind of created a whole new availability of some people to get in, into the space. So Meta Hero, another one to watch as a blue chip. Also, Clone X was mentioned by Josh Ong. That's one, from Artifact, obviously got a boost in valuation after the Nike buyout. This is one kind of built for the metaverse, right? It's going to be an avatar project. It's going to be in the metaverse, built for that specific reason. The artwork is a little bit different on this. It's also more, younger age based NFT as far as the actual picture goes. So I think it brings a potential different audience that tie into Artifact, though. And Nike, I think, is just going to be so strong going forward. I don't think I'd consider this a blue chip yet. I think it definitely, though, bears watching. And we have Doodles. So Doodles was mentioned by Hunter Orrell as a blue chip. This is a project, you heard me say, top 10 in sales volume last week. We've got a floor of 9 now. This thing has rocketed over the past couple weeks. And I mean, I say rocketed for, a project that already traded over like 5 ETH to get that big of an increase that quick, hasn't been done that much, right? Once we get over a certain ETH price, you really price out people from the community, which means it takes more work and more buys to really hit that next level. So Doodles has got a great team, a great community. You're also starting to see people use this as their profile picture on Twitter more and more, which I think shows the strength similar to Apes, right? So that's another one that I think is very, very close, a blue chip level. We'll see what's ahead in the future. CyberKongs was mentioned by Matt Higgins. CyberKongs, I think, could definitely be thrown out in the blue chip space. They've got the Genesis collection. They've got the second collection. As far as the pixel art goes, it's one of the most well-known. They also did utility, right? They've got Banana. They also have their community that has, gotten into some other projects early just by sharing that alpha with each other. So that's another one to watch. And then VFriends. So VFriends was mentioned by Matt Higgins. So VFriends from Gary V. Gary V, obviously a big name in the NFT community. We have VCon coming in 2022. And in order to go to VCon, you have to own a VFriend. And I think we're really going to see maybe a run on these going into VCon. Because if you looked at that speaker list, there's so many great speakers. And this is kind of the first way to reward holders. We also have VFriends 2 being teased by Gary V. And he said that people that own VFriends already will, have a possible early edge of getting VFriends 2. And that's kind of all he really said. He also had the book that he launched, right? And if you bought 12 of the book, you were going to get an NFT in the future. So there's a lot going on with Gary V in the NFT space. And with that being said, VFriends is really, his OG, his one that he's going to, work the hardest on and really deliver that value. So I definitely think, that VFriends could be or is on that blue chip line. So with that being said, my blue chips, Bored Ape Yacht Club, obviously. I think CryptoPunks too for the sheer value and also being an OG. Mutant Ape Yacht Club, I think, is also on that line of being a potential blue chip. We're seeing the price of that one rise too, along with these Bored Apes here. So Mutant Ape Yacht Club, keep an eye on. Cool Cats, Meta Hero, and V Friends. Those would be probably my 5 or 6 blue chips. Again, just my opinion, not financial advice on what you should be buying. Yeah, look at Mutant Ape Yacht Club, 14.49 floor price. This was a Dutch auction for people that weren't already Bored Ape holders. You could get into this for between 2 and 3 Ethereum. And again, another way to get into the Bored Ape community, because in order to get that ape token and get into the utility of Yuga Labs, you have to own something, and it's cheaper to buy a mutant ape or to buy a Bored Ape Kennel Club than it is to buy a Bored Ape. So I think we start to see the so-called cheaper ones maybe continue to run into the launch of that coin. So again, keep an eye out on those, even with the increased value. Starting to get close on time here. I also asked, what projects are close to getting to the blue chip line and could be ones that are already highly valued but could break out in 2022. So these are potential breakouts. Again, not financial advice here. This was from a panel, their thoughts. So we had Jenkins, the Valet, and Pixel Vault mentioned by Luke Doucette. So Jenkins the Valet is tied into the Bored Ape Yacht Club, right? It is a way to license out your Bored Apes, your mutant apes. And there's kind of a ticket to that, right? There's going to be a book. There's going to be, future, ways to monetize your assets by being involved in that community. That could really become a blue chip because of the way that they're doing that. So that's definitely something to keep an eye out on. Gutter Cat Gang getting mentioned by the panel. Doodles also mentioned. And then World of Women, which is one I've talked about a lot on the show. That's one of those ones where I continue to kick myself. I actually remember seeing this one under like 0.15, and I almost bought it, right? Because we started to see it gain a ton of attention. And now we have a floor price of 2.85. It was even higher than that last year. Again, a woman-based project. It's kind of the considered the big one in that space. I think we're going to see some collaborations and more projects from them coming in the future. So that one could be, another one to watch in 2022. Wolf Game is in that play to earn sector. It saw a ton of celebrities get involved. So those are the ones that the panel pointed out. And now here's where it gets really hard for me, right? Because I've done a ton of interviews on this show. We've talked to a ton of teams. I don't want to leave anyone out. So just to highlight a couple that I think bear watching in 2022, Doge Pound, that's one we've interviewed several times on the show. They launched the puppies. They have a game coming soon. They also have been a springboard for other projects where you can get whitelist access. I think they've really rewarded their community, and I think they're going to continue to do that moving forward. So that's another one that, I've been a big fan of from the start. Lazy Lions. When we had Lazy Lions on, they showed up, right? And we've had a ton of communities on here, but that community was just so great to interact with, right? So fun, very interactive. They also have high ownership here, 5,000 out of the 10,000. So I think a diverse mix there. They've got a lot planned for their roadmap going forward. I think the price of 1.65 also makes it attractive to, some of your smaller investors in the space. So I think that one is one to watch in 2022. Dead Fellas. So the Coinbase launch coming soon. If you look at the Coinbase NFT page, Dead Fellas is in their header photo, which I think really highlights that Coinbase is going to, highlight them, mention them with that launch. They're a partner. We also saw NFL player Odell Beckham Jr. just bought a Dead Fellas, and there's that Coinbase logo right there. I mean, look at that. They could have picked any NFT to be their header photo. They could have just used a generic Coinbase logo, right? Or a link to the website, right, where it just spells out the website to join the wait list, but instead it's Dead Fellas. I'm a little surprised they didn't do like a collection of a bunch of different NFTs, but instead we have Dead Fellas just getting huge brand awareness here on the Coinbase page. So I really think that's one to watch. Robotos. I heard someone mention it in the chat earlier. We've had Pablo on the show a couple times, and Roboto signed a media deal to launch an animated TV show. And several NFT projects have announced, media deals. But I think Robotos is really on the edge, and they're really close to actually bringing that product forward, right? And we're going to get details on that in 2022. They already launched pets. They have their own metaverse coming. Pablo demoed that on the stream. Again, another great community. Strong ownership of the Robotos and the RoboPets. I'm a big fan of the artwork, and the fact that some of it does have the animation there. I really like this one. I think 2022 could be another year for this one to break out as we get new details on the media partnership. So those are the ones that I think. What do you guys think? Let me know in the chat. What are the blue chips, or the next blue chips, or the ones to break out? And we'll try to go over some. I want to wrap up here with some of those last questions. Yeah, Swamp First being mentioned in the chat. That's another good one. So I asked the panel about the Coinbase launch, right? And the panel was kind of mixed, right, on what the Coinbase launch is going to do. Is it going to create competition for OpenSea, or is it really just going to bring new people to the space? And I think the consensus was more that it's going to bring new people to the space. So maybe it doesn't actually hurt OpenSea as much as originally anticipated, because the majority of people that are on OpenSea, may not leave to go to Coinbase, or they're going to end up using both, right? The thing with Coinbase, I mentioned with some of these other tokens, aside from Ethereum, is that it's going to be, I think, more integrated, right? Because Coinbase, you already own your cryptocurrencies. And if you can then just buy these NFTs directly, you're taking a step out of the process of like your MetaMask, where you have to deposit money, then you have to buy Ethereum, then you can buy your NFTs. So I really think that maybe Coinbase is going to make it, a little bit easier. And with that being said, can really bring new people to the space. So OpenSea, 150,000 active users. Coinbase has 2.5 million people on their wait list. That's a massive number of people. Obviously, they may not all join. They might never mint an NFT either. But definitely a thing to watch. And that Coinbase launch, I think, is getting even closer. I actually expect it by the end of the month now, based on some of the stuff that I'm reading. So I'm pretty excited for the Coinbase marketplace launch, and also to see kind of what projects they work with, right? Because those projects are going to get kind of an extra edge, right, to be featured on the platform, and maybe they get some new collectors. So another thing to watch. And then the other big topic I talked about was NBA Top Shot and Dapper Labs, right? So NBA Top Shot, if you've watched this show before, one of our questions we always start with was, how did you get into NFTs? What were some of the first NFTs that you bought? And I think the consensus has always been NBA Top Shot, right? A lot of people, that was their gateway into NFTs, and myself included. NBA Top Shot, it wasn't Ethereum based, it was Flow. You could use a credit card or a debit card. It was ease of use. You didn't have to worry about gas fees. And also in the early days, you could get in line for a pack. If you got a pack, you could easily double or triple your money right away. And I think that made a lot of people stick around then. And they also took their profits and put them into other NFTs. So I think Top Shot really did a good job with that. But then Top Shot had a supply issue, right, where they had too many NFTs and the demand wasn't as big anymore and prices started to drop. Well, Dapper Labs has a deal with the NFL for NFL NFTs. And when those launch, which they're in beta right now, I think you're going to see another massive wave of people in the NFT space. And if NFL NFTs are successful, you're going to see people make money and then put that money into other NFT projects based on what happened before with Top Shot. So that's just my thought here on what's going to happen. And again, Dapper Labs, also someone mentioned soccer earlier. Dapper Labs has a deal with La Liga, one of the big leagues over in Europe. And I think we start to see that too. We saw, So Rare, which had some soccer NFTs. I think we start to see that grow out, and I think Dapper Labs, they already have the history with NBA Top Shot. I think they're really going to be able to bring some of these new sports NFTs to the market and bring new fans to the space. And then I also asked the panel their hottest take on the NFT market for 2022. So this was kind of just a throw out, right? If you could pick one thing that might happen, right? It's probably not going to, but maybe it could happen, and maybe the consensus says that it won't. So, um, you know, there was a mixed, a variety of opinions here, and some of the biggest ones were that losses were going to happen. Right, we were actually going to see some of these projects really start to fall in valuation. Also, there was a take that play to earn was going to kind of drop off and no longer be a huge growth sector. So that's something to watch out for. Again, there's just a variety of opinions in the NFT space. And they're not necessarily all right or all wrong. I think we're going to see a mixed bag. And also, I think there's a mixed variety of ways to play NFTs, right? So for someone who asked earlier, should I get into NFTs now? Again, know your risk reward. But that's what we're here for with this show, is to provide education and interviews. But today's episode, no interview. We wanted to do, a recap of 2021 and also preview 2022. So I want to thank everyone in the chat. You've been awesome, highly engaged today. We're going to do it again next week, Tuesday at 2 p.m. Make sure you come back and join us. But yeah, and a lot of talk about Coinbase NFTs now in the chat. Again, that's part of the thing with Coinbase, is they haven't shared a ton of details. They have confirmed a couple different cryptos being used. But yeah, and the bridge to OpenSea, we'll have to see as well. But yeah, make sure you sign up for the Coinbase waitlist if you're interested. I know I'm on that waitlist, and again, super excited to see what it brings. But again, shout out Sappy Seals for this Christmas sweater. Arf, everyone in the chat for joining. And be sure to like the video, subscribe to the Benzinga channel, and you can follow me on Twitter. Handle is right there on screen. Maybe let me know some of your favorite projects and what you want covered on future episodes. So until next time, everyone, this is the roadmap, and I will see you next week. Stay tuned. We got pre-market prep at the close coming up at 3:30 today, which will break down the day of the stock market and cryptocurrency with Spencer and Joel, two highly knowledgeable names here from Benzinga. So don't go anywhere. You can keep this going in the background. They will be on shortly. Thanks, everyone, and see you next week.